welcome to PRS Presents, a night of live performances from some of the UK's most exciting talent, brought to you by PRS for Music.
Tonight's bill features 3 acts who have all received funding from PRS Foundation at different stages throughout their careers.
Coming up, we have Mercury-nominated alt-rock renegades Nova Twins, effervescent Cumbia band Los Bitchos, and Brighton's post-punk quintet DITZ.
DITZ's live performances have been described as visceral, breathtaking, and incendiary. And they're kicking things off for us tonight with a performance of their track 3.
Flying orgasm. Give me your thoughts and applause. Your lids half closed, your mouth ajar. Singing praises in only vowels. Ah, 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 ah. Oh, 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 oh. Give me your thoughts and applause. The ecstasy, your sunshine. More grimace and smile. Only gods will cry. Flying orgasm. Give me your thoughts and applause. Your lids half closed, your mouth ajar. Singing praises in only vowels. And applause, the ecstasy of your sunshine. More grimace and smile. Only gods will cry. A wicked sight for heritage, for muted mouth, a legislation, borrowed time, for colour the ground, without his wrath.
That was DITZ with 3, taken from their debut album, The Great Regression.
Coming up next, we've got Los Bitchos, a band who have become renowned for ripping up the rule book and for making all of their live performances feel like a house party.
But before we welcome them on, earlier today, we caught up with Nova Twins to talk about powerful live shows, critical acclaim, and their second album, Supernova. Let's take a look. Hello, Nova Twins.
Hi.
How are you? How does it feel to be playing PRS Presents today?
Feels, yeah, very, very good.
Very good.
It's a lovely, grand venue. Feels nice.
It's very nice in here, isn't it? Very beautiful setting.
Lots of good art on the wall.
Very amazing. Gracie.
So this year you received international showcase funding from the PRS Foundation. How did that impact your career so far?
Whoa, we're an independent band. I think when we got that, did we have a label at the time? You've helped us a few times now, especially before pre-label and also been
Fun.
yeah. Obviously, even back in the day with Eurosonic, we had a little grant then, and then also with Austin
And I think in COVID as well. I was like,
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, it's been so helpful, especially if you don't have some big major label funding it, or you haven't got any, like, obviously money. Being a band is expensive. It's hard to thanks. It's hard to be on the road, especially with Brexit and everything. So it's been extremely helpful, and that's why we're super pleased with doing the gig tonight.
And you've had a massive few years recently, and now Supernova has been shortlisted for the Mercury Prize, and you've been nominated for quite a few other prizes this year. How's the reaction been to the album so far?
It's been like amazing, and yeah, we're so blown away by it all, and especially like the Mercury Prize was something like, growing up you always think, oh, will one day that ever happen, and you always like watch it every year and run to see the list. So it was like a massive kind of pinch me moment for us when that came through, and even to like everybody online really getting behind the album. So we've been like really grateful for that.
And so much work kind of goes into your live shows, obviously, from your stage outfits to the performance itself. How do you even begin to translate that record into such a sort of immersive experience on stage?
I think we always think about the stage and our live performance. I think when we started off, we didn't think about records or like labels or the business side. We were just two girls wanting to play music, so that's what we did. We played around Southeast London a lot. We came up through the punk scene. We just gigged, and eventually a promoter would see us and book us on for another thing, and then book us on for another thing. Then eventually it took us to France, and it took us back to the UK. So we've always just thought that way, and then also when we like do write, everything we see visually as well. So we'll see like the colours of the video, and then we'll see like the outfits for the video, and then we'll both go to the material shop and pick all the colour schemes. So it's all, everything rolls into one big Nova world.
Yeah. And that sounds like a really collaborative process as well between the two.
Yeah, for sure. We'll both be in the material shops like, oh, should we meet here at 10 and like pick out all the fabric, and then we'd go away and like sew our clothes but with the same fabrics, and then surprise each other. So like for the Mercury outfits, we had no idea what each other's outfit looked like till last night, and we showed each other all the materials exactly the same, so then the reveal will be similar but just a bit different. It's always scary but fun.
So you were saying, when you were starting out, you just gigged, kind of relentlessly and built that up. And you've also participated in development schemes, and you've supported these development schemes and been quite, like vocal about enacting change in the music industry and all those kinds of things. What sort of advice would you give to emerging talent in more like the heavy music scene?
I think just the way we kind of first got onto the scene was just playing as much as possible, and we lived and breathed live, so that was our first kind of foot in. I think you have to do so many shows to figure out where you go wrong or things that go right, or what you want to be, and I think that was just a great way for us to kind of get into the heavier world, because we just started in it. So I'll just say, just keep at it. Even if playing to 5 people, to 10 people, you never know what one person's in the room. You just don't know. So just put on your best show. Don't get disheartened on the journey, because sometimes it can be exhausting, like traveling 8 hours to play to like no one, you think, but that is also part of the journey, and it just creates your whole story, and it's like the bones of you. So just keep at it.
Well, Nova Twins, thanks so much for joining us at PRS Presents, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing you play later.
That was the incredible Los Bitchos with Lyndsay Goes to Mykonos. The closing track to their debut album, Let the Festivities Begin, which came out at the beginning of 2022.
Up next, here's what DITZ had to say when we spoke to them today ahead of their performance. I'm here with Cal, Sam and Jack from DITZ. Welcome to PRS Presents.
Well, thanks for having us. Yeah.
So how does it feel to be playing PRS Presents today?
Good. Yeah. I'm very happy to be here. PRS have done a massive amount for the music community, I feel, and for us as well specifically. I think they've done a lot of good things. I like what they're about, and they're helping a lot of bands that need that support to get on to the next. I don't think we would have done a lot of the touring and gigs and stuff we've done the album. We literally wouldn't have done the album without PRS. So got a lot to thank PRS for. But also, we're well excited to play this. We're in a church chapel. Looks like it could have been a Wetherspoons, but it's not. And I'm so glad. Here we are. It's beautiful.
Crucially, it's not a Wetherspoons.
Thank God, thank the Lord.
No sponsorship deal from Wetherspoons here.
And I'm all for that. Thank you, PRS, and whoever bought this building.
So you received funding from the PRS Foundation for your debut album, The Great Regression. How has the reception been to that so far?
It's been pretty good. I mean, we're still waiting on vinyl coming out next week now, but the album's been out for 6 months now. And we definitely noticed a difference. It shows, having a body of work out there in the world really affects how people perceive you as a band. I think it's kind of like the pinnacle, isn't it? Like you need something that people can get their teeth into. And I think we're definitely noticing a difference now. So.
Because obviously you released your EP kind of during the height of the pandemic.
I mean, that was kind of made up anyway. It wasn't really an EP. It was just singles. Had nothing to do. We were like, let's put them all together on a record and then call it an EP. But
I think we needed something physical, because a lot of the time at our shows there's a lot of audiences that are wanting to get vinyl and that they want to get their hands on vinyl. So I think like Cal was saying, it's a lot of songs put onto a vinyl that we could just have something physical. But now the album's come out, even better. People have been asking for it so much, but because of the vinyl delay, we're finally getting our record next week. And
it also helped with I think getting press and stuff like that as well. I don't think we wouldn't have had the Pitchfork review. We got album of the week in Der Spiegel. Arguably, you wouldn't have an album of the week in something like that if we didn't have an album, and that wouldn't have been possible without PRS. So.
Pretty much, You can link it all back to how PRS has sorted us out.
Yeah, nice one. Nice.
And you've just been on tour with Dive. You've done a bunch of festivals this summer. Any sort of live highlights the last couple of months?
La Rue de Rock in France. That was I imagine headlining Glastonbury as a child. About 6,000 people. Played in between Beak and Ty Segall.
Literally.
Sandwiched in between.
Yeah, there was 2 stages opposite. So there's a stage one side of this fortress in France, and a stage the other, as in 2 main stages, sound desk in the middle. Beak finished playing, and I shit you not, 6,000 people just walked across it. It was quite an unnerving feeling, sort of watching all these people. And we
just sort of creep over.
Lights were down. We were waiting to get on, and that show
didn't feel like we belonged there, but that's made us kind of play up to the billing, I guess, a bit more. So
yeah, definitely. And I suppose now you've released your first album, you've been touring, you've got more tours, more shows coming up. Do you have any advice for sort of more new, up and coming hardcore acts?
Slog it. It takes ages, and it's like honing you. It's like with anything, you get better at something over time. I mean, I think we still got a long way to go, almost definitely. But it's we've been a band for. I mean, it was a band for 2 years before I joined, and a band for 3 or 4 before Sam joined, and so it just takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, and it takes a lot of sleepless nights and hard work, and just
Get your 5150 on the tube and play them riffs as loud as you can.
Yeah, I think you can't underappreciate the grind that you got to do. There's definitely we're all knackered all the time. We all still work we play shows, then we work, and it's 7-day weeks most weeks. I mean, I've had about
40 weeks of the year as well.
Yeah.
Literally.
So, yeah, you've got to enjoy it as well. I think that's the most important thing. It's not worth doing if you're not enjoying it. So
Keep your full-time job because, like we were saying, it spurs us on. Like, we're all working shit jobs, and then when we go out the weekend, we go to Europe. Like, fuck me, it's the best thing that could ever happen. And we're like, I feel like we're all just gearing up, ready to go at our jobs, and then as soon as we get out there, it's even more fun. But yeah, obviously, if we could do it full time and not do jobs, that'd be great. PRS, hint.
Well, thanks for joining us today at PRS Presents, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to your set later.
thank you very much, man.
Appreciate it.
Since 2015, PRS Presents has played host to new voices and firm favourites with an alumni that spans Rag and Bone Man, Joy Crooks, Idols, Lady Leisha, Self-Esteem and so many more.
Before we take a look back at some of our favourite past performances from the last 7 years, let's catch up with Los Bitchos.
Hi Los Bitchos.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat. The first time we met in person was South by Southwest at the British Music Embassy. From what I understand, you've been super, super busy ever since then, really. It looks like you've been touring relentlessly. What have you been up to?
Just that. We've been touring relentlessly.
We went to the USA again in June, and we did EU in April. And just like festivals basically as well. Yeah. Countless amounts of festivals.
So a big summer then? Busy?
Yeah. Yes.
Very.
Yes.
It feels like we've been on like an endless summer basically since South by, because everywhere we've gone has been really hot. Yeah. So yeah, it feels like the longest summer ever, but it's been amazing. It's been really, really cool.
And what have the highlights been for you?
Oh, probably the States for me. The tour in June. It was really special. Oh yeah, we went to a water park on a day off and all nearly broke our necks on this like vicious ride that shouldn't be allowed to happen.
No, it was great actually. Like it's a pretty funny story. So like we're having like the time of our lives, and then we were all going down this huge slide, and then like Agustina and Josie and our guitarist Ryan, they went down first, but we didn't see them go down. Like we just saw them go down, and it was, it looked fun. But what we didn't realize is that they went down and like all of them like cracked their necks back like on impact. And then they were apparently down being like, no, like don't do it, girls, like don't do it. And then me and Nick went backwards because the children in front of us were like, you should go backwards. So we're like, well, if the kids are doing it, we should do it. Yeah. And then like we went backwards and it was horrible. And I ended up like going like on impact. I banged my head on like the end, like on the bit. What do you call it? Like on the slide, on the actual slide. And like you could cut the silence with a knife. Like even the lifeguard was like, oh my God. And then I had to go in the wading pool to calm down.
And that was one of the highlights?
That was one of the... Yeah, I mean, the shows themselves were great, but yeah.
Water park is a winner.
Yeah, it's often like the disasters that end up kind of being highlights because they're the best stories, aren't they? So, yeah.
And how are you finding that your EU and your US audiences are responding to your music? Are you getting the same kind of warmth that you tend to get from a UK audience? Because I've seen UK audiences at your shows just going totally mental.
I think it's been fairly consistent, to be fair. I think, the response has been really positive. We thought it was quite cool to like travel as far as the US and be like, oh my God, people are actually showing up on like to our shows. They bought tickets.
Yeah.
And that's like was kind of like an eye opener, But yeah, super, super exciting crowd, and they're all very lovely. Yeah.
And so obviously all four of you are from different countries. I'm trying to get this right. Uruguay, Australia, Sweden, and sunny England.
Correct.
How are you finding that you're getting any more influences and inspirations as you sort of travel the world as you are at the moment? Because you can tell your influences in your music are so varied already.
Yeah, totally. I mean, everywhere you travel to, you're always in like transit or traveling and stuff. So you have so much time to listen to new music, find out about new stuff that's happening around the world. So yeah, certainly for myself, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yes. And obviously, as you can tell, I think it comes out in your personalities, but your live shows are definitely so joyous and vibrant. How do you ensure that that comes out in your recorded music as well?
We did quite a lot of like fun things in the studio. I think like we try not to overthink it, but also sometimes we just can't help it. I think like one thing we did in the studio, for example, was to like attach these body percussion to our friend Kiko, who comes along to a lot of our shows, and she's a good dancer, so we're like dance to the track, and then we like made it like we just recorded that, and then like that went on it, and then I don't know, we were like doing bum slaps as percussion for like Las Panteras, which sounded wicked. I don't know, I think like we're not very serious when we go to studio either. So I think that kind of comes through maybe in that sense. But yeah, it's always a challenge to actually capture the live energy.
I think it's like if the fact that we record it all together as well, or at least as much as we can, so there's less emphasis on like overdubbing and recording separately, which, you know, that can have its, its own advantages. But the fact that we're all in the same room playing together for a bulk of the album and for a bulk of new recordings that will be coming out, I think that's a really important aspect of capturing our energy that we have together.
Amazing. So does that mean you've been in the studio recently, and does that also mean we can expect new music from Los Bitchos soon?
Yes. Yes, as vaguely as possible. Yes, you can expect new music, and we have been in the studio somehow in amongst like all the touring. I don't know how we did it, but we have. Yeah, in our week off.
Amazing. So just to sort of bring it back to South by, you were funded by PRS Foundation. You had the International Showcase Fund to go to South by Southwest. Did you find that funding opened any doors outside of actually attending South by itself? Have you had any opportunities off the back of that through the funding?
I reckon we have, because there's so many people that come to those shows that you don't even know. You know, it's just like you just think it's some guy or some lady. But I think there's been definitely a lot of opportunities that have come up for us, particularly in the US and for US festivals in the future that we're dying to do. But yeah, certainly. Thanks, PRS. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I can't wait to see you play later on.
Thank you, Maya.
It's now time for our final act of the night. Playing us out are Mercury Prize nominees Nova Twins with the powerful Choose Your Fighter.
A huge thanks to all tonight's performers, and thank you for watching.
It's Nova Twins.
Ready, set,
go! Make the maniac. Can you feel the power in your hands? Now I'm gonna have to take it back.
on your mark, ready, set, choose your fire. Choose your fire. Choose your fire.
Make the maniac. No one ever wants to finish last. Running like a bullet on the back.
On your mark, ready, set.
Yo, make the maniac. Can you feel the power in your hands?
Split the room down the middle. Right. Just this side. Repeat that. Sing with me.